that you're doing it on purpose. Sing like a singing on key. Talk to the girl that intimidates you. Pretend that you're brilliant and charming. I said pretend that you're brilliant and charming. Hey!
Welcome, everybody. Later with Jason Suel. So glad you're tuned in to our show. We've got a packed show lined up for you. Bo Count's joining us. Isn't it a packed show? I'm really excited about it.
We've got so much stuff coming on from the Roots Festival. We've got so much food, so many cool stories and music. It's huge.
Yes, it's huge. So let's get right to it. Here's what you can expect on the show. We've got Brian Hembry, Bernice Hembry, Jeremy Gothrop joining us. They are the brain trust around the Fayetteville Roots Festival, and they're going to talk to us about their heartbeat.
O'Brien, too.
Yeah, we got Haley O'Brien. Chef Haley O'Brien is joining us, and she is going to make an amazing salmon. You do not want to miss that. And then our musical guest in this episode, longtime friends of the Roots Festival, Birds of Chicago, joining us on the show. So that's bam, bam, bam. We have so much packed into this little show. We're so excited about it. So stick around, folks. All that stuff's happening later.
Sam's Furniture doing good. Shine a spotlight on your neighborhood.
Well, we're here in the dining section at Sam's Furniture, and we're joined by Chris Fox from Bethany Christian Services. Thanks so much for taking the time.
Yeah.
So tell me a little bit about what the nonprofit does.
Okay, so we're a faith-based Christian organization, provide pregnancy counseling and adoption services for families in Northwest Arkansas. So if there's a pregnant mom out there, she doesn't know what to do, she's scared, she can come to us and we'll talk to her about her options of if she wants to parent or if she'd like to place for adoption. And then also my primary responsibility is to go out and talk to adoptive families, let them know the process of adoption, and walk them through the process of doing the adoption, meet them at the hospital and support them if they are adopting a baby. And then make sure they get settled in once that baby is placed in their home.
Man, you guys do so much. If people are watching right now, they want to get involved, they want to learn more, how can they do that?
They can go to www.bethany.org or they can email us directly at rmorris@bethany.org.
Man, you got all the info. I love it. Bo, what's
I think it's time to get involved.
Welcome back, everybody. Later with Jason Suel. So glad that you are tuned in to our show. Joining us now, we've got the brain trust behind Fayetteville Roots Festival. Brian, Bernice Hembry. We've got Jeremy Gothrop joining us. Thanks so much for taking the time to speak with us today. We appreciate you guys.
Thank you both. We miss seeing you in person. I can see you now. You're in the computer. It's amazing.
In the computer.
In the computer.
So
Right there.
I'm curious, can you guys fill us in on this year's Roots Festival? It might look a little bit different, but it's still continuing that tradition that you've created around music and the culinary scene in Northwest Arkansas. So talk to us a little bit about what audiences and folks can expect this year at Roots Festival and how they might be able to participate.
You know, we don't want to just close up shop, right? You know, it's just because the festival can't be in person, you know, we want to continue to gather community. So with respect to what we're going to do, we're calling it Fayetteville Roots Presents Thursday Night. And you know.
That's the name, Thursday Night. I
Thursday
love it.
Night.
We
That's
actually
right.
have a t-shirt that just says Thursday Night that we've had for years because we all look forward to and love Thursday night. And I think Thursday night is actually what most people will miss the most from the festival. So
because that's traditionally, that's opening night, right? That's when everybody comes together. That's the big kind of like, it's kind of like a family gathering. Everybody comes back into town from wherever they are, touring, you know, artists, chefs, and just the local community all converge and come together. Big celebration. So this year you're doing something virtual. Is that correct?
Yeah, that's right. And even though it's virtual, like we are right now, there's still that point of connection that's so important. And so that's what we're going to be doing. It's going to be broadcasting musical performances from artists that have appeared at the festival over the last 10 years.
Yeah, I don't think people realize how much content we have over the last decade. And there are so many beautiful videos that we have been waiting to do something with. So this is really the perfect opportunity for us to use a lot of that.
Yeah, it's also it's not just broadcast though. There will be live hosts. So our perennial MCs.
Maybe I didn't get the email. Did it hit my spam folder?
Well, maybe we have to figure out a way to get you guys involved. But Kyle Kellums and Antoinette.
Yeah,
of course. It's not Roots Festival without Kyle.
Exactly. So they'll be there. Jeremy and Bernice and I will be there, distanced, but we'll be actually live hosting. So there will be segments that are actually live and streamed in that moment.
What about one of my favorite things is when you give out the award, right? The Crazy Chester Award. Is that happening again this year?
We are working on that. It's a little bit more difficult in this scenario, but that's a tradition that spans 9 years, not to the very first festival, but almost the very first festival. And we want to continue that, and we'll announce that who the recipient is. Last year we had Ronnie Hawkins in town as the recipient of the Crazy Chester. That was a beautiful moment to see him come back and to accept that award that really is so applicable to his history. He told a story about going and seeing movies on the square with Crazy Chester. That's pretty rad. So this year we're going to try to continue that because it'd be a shame to stop.
So talk to us, Jeremy. Culinary, part of this year's festival, and really part of Roots, as you mentioned, Brian, your mission to bring food and culinary together. What are you doing this year? What have you extended? What's going on with the culinary scene as part of this, the Roots Festival 2020?
So there will be some culinary options this year on the Thursday night that will be available for people to pre-order, somewhat demonstrating our Meals for Musicians program. So some people will have the opportunity to pre-order these meal kits in a demonstration of what we are doing for musicians, and also get to take one home. We'll still have a collaboration with Ozark Beer Company this year and Kyle Kellums and the Ozarks at Large. So this will be coming out pretty soon. So there will be still some nuances like the Crazy Chester, like the culinary, like the Ozark Beer, and like all the music and community. It'll be there, and it's just in this setting, in this world.
Yeah. I mean, it's great. You're sticking to the traditions and the things and the heartbeat that's really true to the Roots Festival. It might look a little different or sound a little different this year, but you're staying true to that. And we've mentioned it a few times, this Meals for Musicians. Let's be specific about it. What is Meals for Musicians? What are you doing?
In March, we had to start canceling concerts for ourselves and at the Roots HQ. And we just said, well, we've always fed musicians. How can we keep that going?
Hey man, if you feed the belly, you feed the soul,
That's right. That's exactly right. And so Jeremy and Bernice and I all started brainstorming and calling food partners. I think back to some of those early calls in mid-March, we started calling some food partners saying, hey, we're getting ready to feed musicians. And everyone was in such a interesting moment. They were like, really? Because no one really knew what was happening at that moment. It was just a little bit of confusion. But what we did know is that artists were immediately impacted, as Bernice said. They lost income like that. And very quickly, their entire calendar started going away. And that's tough. And one of the things that we know is one of the things you get as a musician that plays a gig, sometimes you get a meal, here's your meal, here's your gig. And so you might get $300 for the gig, but you get a $40 meal or whatever, and that's a big deal. And so these meals care packages, it's not just one meal. They average 10 to 14 servings. It's a care package of sorts. And it's meant to kind of offset about $60 that the artist wouldn't have to spend that week on food.
It's awesome. Guys, again, we want to thank you so much for just kind of joining us to chat. It's always great to chat with the three of you and to hear your heart. It's always great for us to, as an audience too, our viewers at home, to get to hear the people who are behind the Fayetteville Roots Festival and your heartbeat. So we appreciate that. And folks, you want to stick around because coming up after the break, we've got great stuff. We've got the Birds of Chicago's. We've already mentioned they're going to be joining us on the show. Great friends of the Roots Festival. They've got a music video for us. It was filmed back in 2016. Great stuff. And then we've got Chef Haley O'Brien joining us to teach us a step-by-step process of how to do something that's absolutely delicious. So stick around. We got all those things happening later.
Our musical guest brought to you by Walton Arts Center. Walton Arts Center, presenting the West Street Live series.
Tears of rage, tears of grief, from Inglewood to Nairobi. We need a super love, need a super lover. Double Dutch and hula hoops, all our fears in loops and loops. We need a super love, need a super lover. The night so cold. Who among us dreams the dawn? Who could count the flowers in your heart? Lord, let me die before my child. Pray to every mother far and wide. That's a super love. I'm a super lover. You can feel it near and far. It fades the moon and blinds the stars. That's a super love. Are you a super lover? The night's so cold. Who among us dreams the dawn? Who could count the flowers in your heart? Believe what you will, believe the golden tale. It's naive to be a super lover. Are you a super lover? There's no God of fire and blood. If there's a God, then God is love. We need a super love. Need a super lover. The night's so cold. Who among us dreams the dawn? Who could count the flowers in your heart? Tears of rage, tears of grief, from Inglewood to Nairobi. We need a super love, need a super lover.
Folks, welcome back later with Jason Suel. So glad you're joining us for this Roots Festival themed episode. We're having a lot of fun on the show, and we are now virtually invited into the Honeycomb Kitchen in Rogers. Chef Haley O'Brien joining us. Hi, Haley.
Hey, how's it going, Jason? It's great to see you again.
Yeah, it's great to see you again. I know Bo is really excited about the food that you're about to make, so kind of tell us.
That mise en place.
I know.
Gosh, there's so many things there.
Yes, there are. Tell us what you're going to make and then get to it. I can't wait to see what you put together.
Yeah, so what we're working on today is something nice and fresh for the summer. We're featuring local produce to make a confit salmon salad. So it's basically a slow, oily cooked salmon that's going to have some aromatics in there. And what's so cool about that, Jason, is it doesn't just have to go on a salad. It can go on your avocado.
In my mouth.
Go with your mouth straight up, right out of the jar, in fact, Bo. You can make a salmon salad out of it and kind of serve it on like a pita or something. So it's one of those dishes that only takes 20 minutes and it's so delectable. And if you go ahead and put a little bit of oil on top of all of it in the fridge, probably about a ½ inch worth on top, you can actually keep it fresh in the fridge for several weeks.
Wow.
Awesome. Well, go ahead and get to putting stuff together. I can't wait to see it.
We have a fillet of sockeye salmon here. And then what I've got for aromatics today, I've actually got some dill seed from my garden. So my dill went ahead and flowered, and then the seeds came out, and I dried them out, and we're gonna feature them in the dish. I've got a little bit of garlic, and I've only kind of coarsely chopped it into chunks. So you really don't have to mince it a bunch, but instead of putting it in whole, it really is good to cut into it. Since this is a slower cook time, we wanted to infuse in more oils to get in there. Then we've got a little black peppercorn, salt, and then I went ahead and picked a few fresh herbs. So I had a little bit of dill left. I've got some chive in here and some basil. So those are the aromatics that we're literally gonna toss into here with a little bit of fresh onion, and we're gonna cover this bad boy in oil. And let me tell you, it becomes real fancy and tasty and delectable, but it's so simple. I'm also, because why not, we gotta add a little citrus in here. I'm going to peel some lemons, and we're gonna throw some lemon peel in this bad boy. So let's see if I spill this. I don't think I will, but we'll see how smooth I am.
That is
a
tremendous amount of oil.
Oh yeah, fat on fat, and anti-inflammatory ingredients.
That's been my theme for COVID, is just fat on fat. And yeah, it's been, I don't know how it's working out, but it's been fun.
It sounds tasty for sure.
Oh, it's something.
So have you guys been able to utilize the farmers market much during COVID with what they got going on?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, it's just right down the street from me. So it's weird though, because you get to go to the farmers market and it's normally like the dog and baby show. And now no dogs and babies are allowed. It's just get your vegetables. And what I kind of like, it's like an express. But man, it's great to have fresh vegetables again.
It is great. And even the Bentonville Farmers Market for a while was doing kind of the drive-through thing, which I did that a couple times as well. So, I mean, I love that we're finding ways to still have the farmers market, even in unprecedented times that we're in.
Absolutely. As you guys know, I'm so big into local products. I mean, down to the point where, I know my farmers well, and I'm featuring today the Valons Farm and Prairie Woods Farm.
Yeah, so, talking about your cooking there for a second, Haley, and you're in Honeycomb Kitchen. You're doing kind of some teaching classes virtually with them, right? Can you tell us a little bit about that?
It's a lot. You're everything's looking real solid, like you've been practicing.
Yeah.
Yes, actually, so I've been with Honeycomb Kitchen Shop doing cooking classes for about 3 years now. So it's really gotten to the point where I just love being here. I've learned so much about how I can reach out to people and teach them about cooking, that when COVID happened and our classes kind of had to be reformed, I said, well, why don't we figure out a way for people to be able to cook at home with whole foods and veggies and get food to their door while everything crazy is going on with the supermarkets and being out in public. So we teamed up with KT Produce and their KT Fresh Boxes and put together what we call the Unbox series. So basically, the customers who buy tickets to the class, they get about a 20-pound box of produce that they come and pick up here at Honeycomb. They get all the recipes and the station setups and any pantry items they need sent to them ahead of time. And that way, we can actually spend 2.5 hours prepping out a meal for their whole family. And yeah, you can also find me doing a picnic to support Appleseeds this month. Appleseeds Inc., which is a nonprofit that supports obviously hunger relief, but teaching children also how to grow and use their own veggies. I'm going to be featured for a picnic on August 20th to kind of support them and highlight their farm produce as well.
Man, that's awesome. You're doing so much in our community, and we really appreciate you. And also, obviously, we appreciate your culinary prowess.
Got a little drip in action here.
Oh man, I know. I'm so hungry right now just watching this happen.
I mean, nothing gets me hungrier than drip in action.
Dripping fat, right? Fat on fat.
Amen.
On fat.
So you have this beautiful chunk of salmon, and it looks kind of bizarre if you look closely at it. You can actually see the little globules of fat leaching out the side.
Delicious globules.
And then we can flake it apart. And I mean, it flakes apart like butter. I mean, it is so tender and soft. So literally just flake it apart. You can put it on anything. So thank you so much, guys. And definitely check out what I've got going on. You can follow me at Plant-Based Magnetism plant-based magnetism on Instagram for all my upcoming events. And
I'm going to do it right now.
Yeah, and you've got the Apple Seeds event coming up. Obviously, you're doing things with Roots Festival. You're doing things at Honeycomb Kitchen, and you've got a lot of farms that you are personally invested in and are doing some great work here in Northwest Arkansas. So we appreciate that you have invested in our region and that you're doing so much culinary expertise around food. So thanks.
Anytime, Jason. Great to see you guys.
Yeah, you too. Stick around, folks. We've got more happening later. Folks, thanks so much for tuning in Later with Jason Suel. Remember, you can find us out there on your social media platforms. Send us an email over at laterwithjasonsuel.com. And before we leave, of course, we've got to thank our guests that made this amazing Fayetteville Roots Festival focused episode happen, including Jeremy Gothrop, Brian Hembry, and Bernice Hembry.
And of course, we had Haley O'Brien cooking up that amazing salmon salad.
Yeah, and how about the sounds of birds of Chicago? That's our show. See you later, alligator.
After a while, crocodile.